Pay's checkout is offered by your banks and credit unions. So when you shop online at participating merchants, your cards appear in one place. Pay's. It checks out. Activation required. See Pays.com to learn more. Terms and conditions apply.
This episode is brought to you by Starbucks.
That is fire.
Whoa, that's good.
This might be the drink of the summer.
Okay, I like this one too. I'm rocking with it, okay.
Try it for yourself. Starbucks Refreshers Concentrates are coming home. Find them in the coffee aisle and make it yours.
Imagine having to dig up your grandparents' voter ID from like 2 decades ago just to prove you have the right to cast a ballot today.
Oh, yeah.
Or being asked to pay over $100,000 simply for the privilege of holding a work visa.
Right.
Today, we are looking at these massive, often invisible toll gates going up across the globe, determining who gets access and who gets shut out. I'm Ayesha Mehta, and joining me today is Karan.
It is a pretty dense lineup today. We are tracking everything from the logistics of a 400-person diplomatic entourage touching down in Delhi.
Which is wild.
Yeah, to the staggering economic math behind that $100,000 visa, and even a 95-meter Cricket 6 that literally managed to shatter local infrastructure.
It really is one of those days where the global and the hyper-local just kind of crash into each other. So today is Monday, August 24th, 2026, and we're going to start right here in the Capitol with a story about, well, the breaking point of public trust.
Right. So the reporting out of the Telegraph today paints a really tense picture for next week. The Cockroach Janta Party, or CJP, is planning this massive protest march on September 5th.
Okay.
They're walking from India Gate directly to the Delhi police headquarters.
And this isn't just out of nowhere, right?
No, not at all.
Yeah.
This is the direct fallout from the youth protests back in July.
Right.
On July 25th, the central government made highly specific commitments to protesters. This was regarding the whole, the NEET exam irregularities, the tragic suicides of aspirants, and of course, that really heavy-handed police response on July 20th.
Yeah, I remember that.
So the CJP, led by their spokesperson, Saurav Das, is basically arguing that for a month now, the government has weaponized bureaucratic delays to just, stall those commitments.
What really caught my eye in the Telegraph's breakdown is the CJP's specific grievance about the Supreme Court.
Mm-hmm.
The court asked the center for a consolidated list of all the FIRs registered nationwide, right? So they could evaluate, quash them entirely. But the government hasn't provided that definitive list yet. It feels like trying to treat a bleeding wound with, I don't know, a filing cabinet.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
When grieving families see an administrative delay, they don't see a slow bureaucratic process. They see deliberate evasion.
And that perceived evasion is what forces a political group back onto the streets. The CJP's National Working Committee looked at these missing written assurances and concluded the government was just quietly trying to let the momentum die.
Right.
So a march to the police headquarters is this highly visible mechanism to force the center to implement those promises in both letter and spirit.
Priceline negotiator.
It's me, the
Priceline negotiator.
We don't need the jingle twice.
What about a third time?
Stop it. This is about vacation inflation and how Priceline negotiates amazing deals on hotels, flights, and rental cars.
Seems like you decided.
Yeah, but I didn't mention that you can save up to 60% off hotels in the Priceline app.
Time to read the tagline.
Fine. No one deals more deals than
Priceline.
Please stop.
Priceline.
Touche.
Priceline.
Priceline.
There is so much NFL on ESPN right now. Monday Night Football, plus pregame and postgame. NFL Live, NFL Primetime. Everything you need to stay on top of every game, every week.
Unbelievable.
And now NFL Network is on the ESPN app. More football, more coverage, more ways to watch. Football's on, all season long on ESPN and streaming on the ESPN app.
That tension over broken promises is definitely simmering in Delhi, but if we look at how quickly unresolved grievances can escalate into just unscripted violence, the situation in the Northeast this morning is terrifying. I was looking at how NDTV has been tracking this chaotic and sudden escalation in Manipur that began literally in the middle of the night.
The timeline NDTV provides there is crucial for understanding how fast local incidents overwhelm security infrastructure. It's so fast.
The initial arson occurred at 2:40 a.m. in Tefukuki.
Wow.
And when fire services arrived around 3:30 a.m., Local groups reportedly blocked them.
Oh my gosh.
By 4 a.m., the violence had rapidly spread to Naga settlements in areas like 9MR and Mereme, with houses belonging to Pumai Naga residents actually being demolished.
And the most chilling detail came just a few hours later. At 9:20 a.m., a 54-year-old Jawan from the 36th CRPF sustained a bullet injury in Langmai Tafu.
Right.
And when journalists spoke to him at the Senapati District Hospital, he said he couldn't even determine the direction of the gunfire.
That's terrifying.
He said the shots appeared to be coming from both sides. I mean, that detail alone explains the sheer terror of inter-community crossfire.
It just paralyzes the entire region.
Yeah.
The NH2 highway is now entirely blocked. Furthermore, the Takokuki Village Authority has actually invoked customary law, giving a 24-hour deadline for those responsible to come forward.
Which is huge. Yeah, when state security is trapped in the crossfire, parallel justice systems immediately step in to fill the vacuum, which honestly only compounds the volatility.
We are seeing physical displacement happening overnight in Manipur, but citizens can also be displaced entirely by, well, a spreadsheet.
Oh, yes.
Let's look at the staggering administrative hurdle currently reshaping the electoral rolls in Mysuru.
The scale of this data purge is immense.
Yeah.
The Times of India is reporting that following an intensive revision by the district administration, 5.6 lakh voters have been dropped from the draft electoral roll.
Wait, 5.6 lakh?
Yeah. And another 1.2 lakh voters have been handed notices to correct their data discrepancies within a single month. But the real sticking point is the 15,854 voters slapped with a no mapping status.
Right, because they lacked parental or ancestral voter records dating back to 2002.
Exactly.
This feels like democracy functioning as an exclusive country club. I mean, an NGO, the Odonati Seva Samse, actively demonstrated how damaging this mandate is for destitute individuals.
I see what you're saying, but...
Like, if someone is unhoused or estranged from their family, demanding they dig up their grandparents' voting records from 20 years ago isn't just an administrative ask. It's a stealth disenfranchisement of the most vulnerable people in the state.
The human cost is definitely undeniable, but the underlying data science of scaling a democracy requires rigid parameters.
Even if it hurts people.
Well, the Election Commission is enforcing a strict ASDDO matrix. That means flagging voters who are absent, shifted, dead, duplicate, or disqualified.
Yeah.
The district election officer managed to drop the total voter count from 27.9 lakh to 22.4 lakh just by cleaning up the data. The system automatically flags records where the age gap between a voter and their parental record defies logic, or where historical details are entirely blank.
But the system is so rigid.
It is, but to prevent mass voter duplication, the EC relies on these strict ancestral data matches, even though, yes, the collateral damage to undocumented citizens can be severe.
Well, that kind of bureaucratic gatekeeping doesn't just hit vulnerable voters. It actually scales all the way up to the highest political offices. What does it actually take for a chief minister to fly to the U.S.?
Apparently, a lot of paperwork and permission.
Exactly. The Times of India also published a piece today highlighting a massive friction point between state ambitions and federal veto power. Telangana Chief Minister Revanth Reddy was flat-out denied political clearance by the Ministry of External Affairs for his upcoming trip to the U.S.
And Reddy's Telangana Rising 2047 trip was intended to court global investment, right? So he is framing this denial as a direct insult to the 4 core people of his state.
Yeah, he's furious.
He is aggressively pointing out the contrast with Gujarat Chief Minister Bhupendra Patel, who was seamlessly cleared for a U.S. and Canada tour for his Vibrant Gujarat initiative.
And the MEA, through their spokesperson, Randa Jaiswal, argues this is purely a procedural assessment based on whether the proposed program is, appropriate for the office held. But this exposes a fascinating constitutional tension. States are increasingly branding themselves as independent economic entities on the global stage. Yet the center holds the ultimate authority over who actually gets to board the plane, effectively turning diplomatic clearance into a lever of domestic political control.
It's a powerful lever.
Yeah.
But, while the MEA might be grounding domestic politicians, they are simultaneously preparing the logistical runway for a massive international arrival.
Oh, this is fascinating.
Yeah, Reuters published an exclusive report noting that Chinese President Xi Jinping is likely visiting New Delhi on September 12th and 13th for the BRICS summit.
Right.
If it happens, it will be his first visit to India in 7 years.
Wait. The detail that gives away the scale of this visit is the entourage.
Oh, yeah.
He is reportedly bringing a delegation of around 400 officials.
400 people.
And what's so ironic is the Chinese Foreign Ministry is maintaining absolute silence, officially claiming they have, quote, no information available.
Right.
But you literally cannot hide the logistical footprint of 400 people. Indian sources confirmed to Reuters that massive hotel blocks are actively being secured right now.
An entourage that size requires advanced security teams, dedicated communication infrastructure, and just vast diplomatic coordination.
It's not a casual drop-in.
No, it is a massive geopolitical statement landing in New Delhi. You have to view this against the backdrop of our incredibly fragile post-2020 border relations.
Yeah.
NSA Ajit Doval is currently in Beijing for boundary talks, attempting to stabilize the military dynamic before Xi arrives with a delegation twice the size of his 2019 visit.
Managing those external diplomatic pressures is undeniably complex, but managing domestic pantry staples is what actually dictates everyday economic anxiety for most people.
That's true.
Anyone buying groceries recently has felt the sting of sugar prices. But looking at the math and the Hindu's coverage today actually provides a bit of a reality check and honestly some relief.
Yeah, so the Indian Sugar Mills Association, or USMO, led by President Niraj Shirgakar, is adamantly stating there is no actual sugar shortage. Okay. They are attributing the recent price spikes to aggressive speculative buying by traders, compounded by some erratic weather, rather than the mills creating artificial scarcity.
But hang on, if stocks are fine, why did the government just step in to authorize 1 million tons of duty-free raw sugar imports?
Yeah, it seems contradictory until you look at the supply chain timeline.
Okay, walk me through it.
It basically comes down to a mathematical gap in October. The projected demand for that month sits between 24 and 25 lakh tons. However, sugar mills only resume their crushing operations around October 15th, meaning they'll only produce about 10 to 12 lakh tons during that window.
Oh, I see.
That is why the 35 lakh ton reserve sitting in warehouses at the end of September is so critical. The government's has moved to import duty-free sugar acts as a psychological and economic shock absorber.
Right.
It floods the market with supply to break the speculative panic before that October demand spike actually hits.
Using duty-free imports as a shock absorber at home actually directly mirrors the aggressive future-proofing strategy India is deploying abroad right now.
Definitely.
The Hindustan Times outlines a globe-trotting itinerary from top ministers that is almost dizzying to read.
The sheer mileage being logged is intense.
Yeah.
Finance Minister Nirmala Sitharaman is covering Canada before hitting the U.S. for the G20 meeting in Asheville. Piyush Goyal is taking a 200-member industry delegation to Japan, followed by Milwaukee.
And Commerce Secretary Rajesh Agrawal is deep into a South American tour across Argentina, Chile, and Brazil.
Yeah, that's a lot of flights.
If you are wondering why a Commerce Secretary's trip to Chile matters to your daily life, you really just have to look at your smartphone or the battery in an electric vehicle.
Right.
Because the Hindustan Times notes that Agrawal is close to finalizing a free trade agreement with Chile, specifically focused on market access for critical minerals.
Which is huge.
These minerals are the oil of the 21st century. By securing these raw materials directly from South America, India is ensuring its tech and green energy manufacturing sectors aren't held hostage by third-party supply chain bottlenecks down the road.
From future-proofing the global economy, we have to pivot back to a demand for accountability regarding the youth protests we discussed at the very top of the deep dive.
Right, and we have to emphasize the sheer gravity of this specific development.
Yeah.
Redis reporting outlines that the Supreme Court, led by Chief Justice Surya Kant, has ordered an urgent probe into allegations of sexual assault against women protesters during that July 20 NEET agitation at Jantar Mantar.
It's incredibly serious.
Senior advocate Shobha Gupta pleaded with the court to create a dedicated, publicized email ID so victims could come forward without facing the intimidation of traditional police channels.
Right, but the Chief Justice declined to create a new reporting mechanism, and his rationale is tied to judicial authority.
How so?
Well, on August 20th, the court had already formed a high-powered 5-member committee to investigate police excesses, including the use of pellet guns.
Okay.
That panel includes heavyweights like former Supreme Court Judge Justice Arsapash Reddy and former CBI Director Rishi Kumar Shukla. The court-hour's logic is that establishing a parallel email system might dilute the authority of this existing committee.
I see.
They feel the committee is already robust enough to investigate these severe allegations with the necessary weight and urgency.
It's 1938. The 2-week pay period is invented. But then the world got faster. Faster travel, faster delivery, faster everything. Except our pay. Until now, with Daily Pay, everyone can access money they've earned when they need it. Yes, this is the future of pay. Daily Pay. Work with the leader in on-demand pay at dailypay.com. Transfer fee may apply.
When it's time to scale your business, it's time for Shopify. Get everything you need to grow the way you want. Like, all the way. Stack more sales with the best converting checkout on the planet. Track your cha-chings from every channel, right in one spot. And turn real-time reporting into big-time opportunities. Take your business to a whole new level. Switch to Shopify. Start your free trial today.
Moving from the Supreme Court enforcing mandates in Delhi to local transport authorities enforcing language mandates on the streets of Mumbai.
Yeah.
We're seeing a very different kind of test being applied to citizens.
The visual of a rickshaw driver pulling over in the rain to cram for a language exam sounds like a joke, but the penalties are very real.
Oh, yeah.
Following a 3-day strike, News 18 reports that Maharashtra Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis had to publicly clarify that auto drivers only require functional Marathi rather than total fluency to comply with the amended motor vehicles rules.
But they're still testing them.
Yeah. Out of the 3,942 drivers randomly checked by the Transport Department recently, 722 failed and were handed 1-month notices.
But the word functional is entirely subjective when a traffic inspector pulls you over on the side of the road.
That's the problem.
This isn't just a cultural initiative. It operates as a stealth economic sanction against migrant laborers. The News 18 report explicitly notes that drivers are terrified of losing their authorization and are actively avoiding certain high inspection routes.
Wow.
When you weaponize a language test against daily wage earners, you directly impact their livelihood and throttle the availability of public transport for everyday commuters.
That tension between state-mandated uniformity and personal expression extends directly from the streets into the classroom.
Yeah.
The Times of India has a detailed breakdown of a ruling from the Allahabad High Court today. They dismissed a minor student as petition to wear a headscarf with her uniform at Tagore Public School.
And the court in As language was blunt. They labeled her petition a bare assertion. They ruled she failed to prove the headscarf was an essential religious practice, protected under Article 25 of the Constitution.
The burden of proof in constitutional law regarding religious practice is incredibly strict.
Fairway.
The judges didn't merely dismiss her claim, they examined specific evidentiary material, including classroom photographs.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Those photos revealed that no other girls from her religious community within the school were wearing headscarves.
I see.
Because she could not provide broader doctrinal evidence proving the practice was indispensable to the faith itself, the court determined her personal habit did not legally override the institution's uniform policy.
Let's step completely away from the courtroom and head to the cricket pitch, where the rules are at least mathematically clear.
It's true.
Even if the local infrastructure takes a beating.
It is rare that a cricket match report includes property damage.
Right.
But CricBuzz's summary of the Colombo test is highly entertaining. India has absolutely dominated. They declared at 5:03 for 9, securing a massive 495-run lead on day 2. Dhruv Jurel was the anchor with an unbeaten 115, but Rishabh Pant delivered the spectacle, smashing a 95-meter 6 off a bouncer that reportedly shattered a solar panel at the stadium.
A brilliant display of disregard for the stadium's solar grid.
Exactly.
But tactically, that declaration was a masterclass.
Oh, absolutely.
They endured multiple rain delays, pulling them on and off the pitch, getting back out, letting Jurel cross the 500-run threshold, and immediately declaring it was brilliant. They forced Sri Lanka to bat under damp, highly pressurized conditions, snapping up Lahiru Udara and Prabhath Jayasuriya almost instantly, leaving Sri Lanka reeling at 8 for 2 by stumps. It completely validated the strategic timing of that call.
Dominating a cricket pitch requires strategic timing, but dominating the global financial system requires ruthless leverage.
Very true.
NDTV is reporting on sweeping new measures announced by U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, designed to choke off all sources of Iranian revenue.
Okay.
He is issuing a stark ultimatum. Any country enabling Iranian transactions will be booted from the U.S. dollar system.
Which is massive. President Trump is publicly declaring that Iran is in a death spiral, and the domestic numbers reflect that. I mean, the Iranian rial has crashed to 2.02 million per U.S. dollar.
Yeah.
But the mechanism Bessent is using here is known as a secondary sanction. He isn't just targeting Iranian banks. He is essentially holding global supply chains hostage.
By forcing allies to choose.
Exactly, by forcing massive trade partners like China, Turkey, and the UAE to choose between accessing Iranian oil or utilizing the U.S. dollar. The U.S. is making a highly volatile gamble that could radically fracture international alliances.
And that financial leverage is not just being applied abroad. The U.S. is using the exact same aggressive economic mechanics to alter the flow of talent across its own borders.
Wait, really? The numbers in the Hindus report today are staggering. The Trump administration has published a proposed rule to implement a permanent $103,265 fee for new H-1B visas.
Over $100,000.
This isn't just an administrative hike. It's the equivalent of putting a luxury cover charge on the American border.
To put that in perspective, the traditional fee structure hovered between $2,000 and $5,000.
Right.
This $100,000 toll is a deliberate tactic to price out middle-tier talent. It forces tech firms, hospitals, and research universities to completely abandon their reliance on foreign labor unless they are hiring at the absolute highest executive levels.
But they can't just do that, right?
While the U.S. Chamber of Commerce is aggressively fighting this, they're arguing the Department of Homeland Security lacks the constitutional authority to invent revenue-generating fees without congressional approval.
Which brings us to the underlying current of everything we explored today. From a $100,000 visa cover charge to ancestral voter data to a Marathi language test for a rickshaw driver, we are watching governments rely on bureaucratic toll gates to decide who belongs and who is excluded.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
But keep questioning the permanence of those barriers. Because as the world shifts toward borderless digital currencies and decentralized AI workforces, these physical borders and paperwork hurdles we discussed today might not just be exclusionary. In 10 years, they might be completely obsolete.
That is a fascinating prospect. And on a much more immediate note, I need to go make sure my roof solar panels are insured against Rishabh Pant.
You can never be too careful.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive, and we will catch you next time.